the right leg side to side, and then turn the whole leg from the hip. So use those internal rotation muscles, right? So you'll notice my foot going in like that. And using these muscles, see if we can drag this leg in to meet the left leg. And we're going to turn it out from the hip and bring it back out. And so turn in, bring it together, turn out, bring it back out. Keep going. So if you find this difficult, right, and I'm letting my leg hover off the floor, which you don't have to, you can drag it on the floor. I find this difficult. That means, well, you can probably figure out what that means. That means the muscles are weak. That matrix movement, right? So it's the rotation that we're looking at here, and we want balanced strength around the hip joint. Maybe the out movement is easier than the in, and you want both of them to be comfortable. So let's do one more time. This is a test, and also treatment of weakness. So let's bring it out, give it a roll, and switch to the left side. The same thing on the left. So leaning back, turn in from the hip, bring the legs together, turn out from the hip, and bring them back out. Keep going just on the left side. Notice if there's a difference here. So try to focus on really rotation, internal and external rotation. Okay, one more. So as you bring it out, just give it a roll. Let's do a forward bend. Okay, so the way to do a forward bend, ideally, right? So when you have your legs out wide, you walk your hands out to a comfortable point. Don't go too far. Don't push past the discomfort. Just come up to where you feel a little resistance. And then, and this is very important, this is really the most important part, activate your quads. Okay, so because when you activate the muscles, then you're not just stretching, you're also strengthening. So activate your quads. It'll also tell the hamstrings, the muscles that you're trying to stretch, to stay active and resist. Right? So try to keep the legs as straight as comfortable. They don't have to be 100% straight. And then let's just go with the breath here. We're going to inhale, lengthen up through the top of the head, and exhale, drop the shoulders, relax the neck down. And if you are very comfortable here, you can even bring your forehead all the way down to the floor. And then just walk your hands out a little more. Keep those quads slightly active. And then coming back up. So we'll slowly come back up. And let's bring the feet all the way together. And then lean back on your arms. And let's work on the right leg a little bit more range of motion here. So we're going to bring the right knee up like this, and then out to the side. And then bring this right leg out a little bit more open. So notice how I brought it, there's about a foot of space between my foot and my other straight knee. Okay, so, and I'm just gonna bring the knee back up so the foot comes down onto the floor, and I'm gonna bring the knees close together. So I'm doing this inward rotation, right? So the leg is rotating in. Now turn it out, full range of motion, and then turn it in. And let's just go side to side like that. Check if there's any, restriction or catching in your hip joint. All right. Now let's see if we can bring this knee all the way down toward the floor. You can use your hand and just bring this ankle a little bit more out. Okay, so your knee is either right on the floor or a little bit above the floor. And we're just going to lean back onto the fingertips and then come down to flat palms. Just lean back a little bit. And you're probably going to feel a little bit of a stretch on that bent leg on the quad. And if you don't feel the stretch, then tuck your tailbone, right? So around your lower back, and then that'll take it there. So very simple stretch, not too deep. Okay, so let's come out of there. So we're going to bring the leg back up, stretch it forward, and switch to the left. The same. Knee up first, out to the side. Bring it further out so there's at least a foot of space between your foot and the straight leg knee. And we're just going to go in and out a few times. So connect connect to that hip. Notice the sensations in that left hip. If there's any restriction there, it's good if there isn't any. That means your hips are healthy. Okay. All right, so now we're going to bring the knees together and then pull the ankle a little bit more out or higher up so the knee comes either on the floor or a little off the floor. This is a tighter side for me, so I could feel that. And notice if you have a difference between your sides. So as we lean back onto the arms, onto flat palms, tuck the tailbone. So instead of arching, tuck and round your back, and that will take it into the hip flexors here and the quads. So you'll notice that I tend to hold these stretches very short amount of time. And that is because a muscle doesn't need a lot of time to stretch to its maximum length. You know, a big muscle like the quad or glute, they take 20 seconds to extend to their max. And after that, you're going to get into connective tissue, stretching ligaments and tendons. And these structures, you know, they're not really supposed to be stretched because they're our support. They are our support structures. So as we come out, bring the leg out and just roll the leg side to side. Let's come up and do some standing postures just because it's fun. Okay, so let's bring the feet together, and then it's going to also warm us up a little bit. And let's do a down dog first. So take a moment to place your hands on shoulder width, splay out your fingers, curl the toes, and then lift the knees and the hips up, look down at your feet, and down dog, and just pedal the feet slowly. And sink into each heel and hold each stretch for a couple of seconds so you can really feel the tension in your calves and how close your heels come down. And now from here, we're going to walk the feet all the way forward into the forward bend. Take your time, a few steps, and just let yourself hang from the hips down for a moment. With the knees bent, try to relax the upper body. So let go of your arms, your shoulders, your neck. You can even shake the head yes and no if that's comfortable for you to release the neck vertebrae. This is a very good position for your neck because, again, this is decompression, right? We're lengthening out. Instead of always being upright, we're actually hanging down. We almost never hang down. Now from here, we're going to place the hands right on top of the legs, right above the ankles, or below the knees with your hands. And here, let's slowly straighten the arms. Keep your knees bent. And let's lengthen the back. So we're going to lift the chest forward, making your back really long. Lift your tailbone. So your arms are going to be straight. And now, if this feels comfortable, straighten your knees as well. So we're just going to stay right here. Straight legs, straight arms, long back. And now from here, we're going to walk the hands up the legs, coming up all the way to standing. Take your time, okay? So you don't lose balance. Focus the eyes, and then raise the arms up all the way alongside the ears. So take a moment to raise your arms. I think you can see me almost. My arms are not in the picture, I see. We're going to bring the palms together overhead, okay? And then we're going to release to your right side stretch. Just very simply to the right, and then over to the left. Let's do that one more time. So what releases muscles? Like I said earlier, it's movement, which involves stretching. So one more time to each side. And then we're going to come back to center, separate the palms, and let's check balance here, all right? Let's rock forward and lift the heels up. So with the heels up, focus the eyes. So movement, compression, and strength. Basically the basic guideline for you, especially if you're a yoga teacher. Movement means what we're doing, joint movement, muscle movement, stretching, but not too deep, not too long. and relax all the way down. Okay, great. So let's do a balancing pose. Let's do the tree. Again, just because it is fun to do. And so the tree pose is actually a really good pose because it tests your balance and really lets you know how wobbly, if you are a slinky or a spring, okay? And so a slinky, for example, is gonna do this. You see what I'm doing with my hip, right? So when the hip is not strong and stabilized, this movement is gonna happen, especially when they're running. You're playing tennis or any kind of active, movement, this extraneous wobble is going to occur, and that wobble was going to wear out the joint eventually because these muscles are going to be working extra hard to stabilize this movement. When you're strong, there's no movement, right? You're strong as a spring. So that's what we're after. Okay, so let's play out the toes. Okay, so make your toes really wide. Bring the weight into your right leg and lift from the hip. So you want to feel that strong side hip working. And then rotate it to your left and place your left foot somewhere along the leg. It could be right here at the ankle. If you feel really good with balance, try above the knee. And then focus the eyes. We're going to bring the palms together. Keep the eyes focused and raise your arms up. Find your tree with the arms. You can separate your arms if you like. And see if you can gaze straight ahead. So you can bring your head right on top of the spine. So you're not spilling forward with your head. You're balancing the head right on top of your spine. Gazing forward in line with the horizon. Extending up from the hip all the way through the fingertips. You'll feel, right, if there is a tension building, and you have a tendency to wobble, it is going to happen. This is a really good test, and let go. Also treatment, like I say, a lot of these are tests and also treatment of weakness in there. So let's do the same on the left side. So splay out your toes. Very important to splay out the toes as well because that builds the small, tiny muscles in your foot. All right, again, the feet are atrophied because we wear shoes so much. So shifting the weight to the left, place the right foot where it's comfortable. Focus the eyes, palms together, and reach up. So step by step, take your time to lift up the tree. Find your tree with the arms, and focus, very gently, focus on lengthening the body, extending the trunk up, stretching the arms up into the fingers. That's it. And release. Okay, all the way down. Good focus. So let's shake out the legs. All right, so let's, what is the most important thing these days, right? A lot of people are sitting, we're driving, we're working on computers. And so when you're sitting, well, what happens? Your hip flexors get forward, right? Because you're here. And your butt gets weak because it's overstretched, like we discussed. Your lower back also. Why do people have pain in the lower back? And say, my lower back is so stiff. They come in to see me and they say, my lower back is so tight. I keep stretching it. And I'm like, please don't stretch your lower back. It's overstretched. I hope that makes sense to you now. So let's, what can we do to fix it, right? So let's step the right leg forward, left leg back, taking a stance for warrior one. Okay, so one. It's a wide stance facing forward on your mat. We're going to adjust the back foot so you can fully plant the back heel. So you don't want to hover. You want that back heel to be fully grounded. And then make sure your hips are facing forward. And let's place the hands on the hips. And so at first step in Warrior One is to focus on the length of your back leg. Okay, so just notice how you can extend it from the hip. And if you tuck your tailbone a little, so your lower back is flat, okay, it's not arched, it's actually just flat by tucking the tailbone, then you can really feel the stretch. And this is exactly what we want, right, to open up the hip because we're sitting so much. And if you ever watched, if you see a picture of like an elite runner, like a canyon runner, their back leg is always extending gracefully back like this, right? It's because of those open hips. So now the second step is to lift up with the arms. So raise your arms up, lift the chest, and then try to stretch your abdomen. So you're going to lift the rib cage up and feel like you're stretching your belly. as well as the internal organs. So even though your lower back is neutral, your upper back, your mid back is going to lift up, creating a gentle arch. So again, we're reversing the habitual slouch, the slouching position, by lifting the heart up. And now staying here with the legs, we're going to slowly lower the arms out through the sides, taking a really wide angle. We're going to pause right here. So we're going to stretch across the pectoralis, that's your chest muscle. Your palms are facing out. And I call this the flight position because you're about to take flight. It feels that way. Okay, so take a breath here, and as you exhale, release. Place the hands back onto the hips. Straighten the front leg. Let's do a hamstring stretch. Actually, you know what? Let's come out of here and just shake out the legs. Okay. Let's do the same on the other side. Okay, so left leg forward, right leg back. Reversing and seated position. A lot of people ask me, like, what's the best thing, to do? What posture can I do if I'm sitting so much? I always say warrior one, right? So warrior one is, because notice the alignment here, right? You're basically reversing the seated position. Lift up. So let's focus on the back leg for a moment. Lengthen from the hip down into the heel, pressing your back heel into the floor, and then lift the chest up. You can even lift the chin slightly. Steady breath there, always steady breath in yoga. And we're going to bring the arms out through the sides, slowly, and pause right here in the flight position. So open chest, palms out. Another breath, inhale, and exhale, release. All right, let's step out, shake out the legs. And I hope you could feel that in your own body, right? Because you're basically opening up, reversing this, you're going this way. So anytime, if you do have a sitting for too long, once an hour, come up. So let's go back to the right leg forward, left leg far back, the same alignment. So here you don't want to be on a balance beam. So basically you don't want to be on the same line. That way you don't have to worry about balance. Stagger your feet, and we can work on the hamstring. And so I don't know if you asked me, maybe one of you asked me, how do you strengthen or whatever. So the best way to stretch, right, is to also strengthen, which in physical therapy, we call it eccentric loading, right? So you can eccentrically load a tissue like we're gonna do with the hamstrings right here. So forward, straight, hands on the hips. Let's inhale, lengthen the back, and exhale, fold from the hips about halfway. So don't go all the way, even if you can. So like for me, it's going to be right here. So it's like a third of the way because I'm pretty tight. I've made myself very tight. And so holding right here, you're going to feel a little stretch in the hamstrings in the front. And so not only do we stretch this, but we also want to strengthen the hamstrings, right? You can't stretch a muscle you don't have. So you want to press the front foot a little into the floor, kind of resisting the stretch a little bit. And now if you feel comfortable, really comfortable here, then sink another inch deeper from the hips. So still keep your back long. Okay, and now let's come up all the way. Inhale, lift up with the chin and chest, all the way to upright. And just give your shoulders a roll back. Let's do one more round from here. And this time we're going to go a little deeper. And we're going to try to round the back, see what happens. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold from the hips. Drop the arms, reach down with your fingers. Now you can let the back round here. But again, very important, keep some resistance in the front leg. So don't collapse, basically. Even if you can place your hands all the way down. Some people can put their forehead to the front leg, which is all fine, as long as you are strong. All right, coming up, rolling up with the chin and chest. Place your hands onto the hips and bend the front knee as you come up. Slowly bring your shoulders up with control. And from here, we're going to step out and shake out the legs. Let's do that on the other side. So I think this is probably one of the safer, most effective ways to stretch and strengthen the hamstrings, right? So much better than doing it on the floor. We're going to do that too, but This is really good. You can do this anywhere. You can do this from standing. So left leg forward, right leg back, hands on the hips, inhale. Exhale, fold, and pause halfway, or as soon as you feel the first initial resistance. Stay with your breath. If you feel comfortable, sink a little deeper from the hips. And coming up all the way up, inhale, roll the shoulders back. One more round. Keep the legs strong, so tighten up the leg muscles. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. This time as you come down, drop your arms, relax the shoulders, let the fingers reach down. And see if you can feel that gentle resistance and not just stretching, also strengthening. And rolling up. Inhale with the chin and place your hands onto the hips. Bend the front knee, put some weight into the front leg as you lift your chest up and step out. Okay, great. Shake out the legs. Okay. So I'm also fond of isolating movements, so for example, if a runner or, a different athlete, a bodybuilder, for example, asks me like, how do I stretch my hamstrings? What I usually recommend if they are doing this particular exercise, instead of just holding, I'll have them pulse there, right? So I'm going to come down, come back up, come down a little lower. So basically kind of doing reps. So isolating this hinging movement that you're loading, but you're also strengthening, right? So you're moving up and down, using your upper body as weight. So let's do that for the hips, for the side hips. So let's separate the feet out wide. If you're facing me, that's fine. But you can also step your right leg forward if you have a mat lined up this way. So we're going to work on the right leg first. So just bring your right leg forward and then make sure your feet are parallel to each other. Okay, so your feet are parallel. We're going to bring the hands onto the hips and then turn out your right leg. Okay, so right leg out from the hip. I'm going to bend and extend that knee for a moment. So even just that, like I said, I'm fond of small movements because they really inform the body of how to move correctly. For example, right here, if you look at your knee, and if your knee is not going straight to your big toe, you're wearing out your cartilage, right? Not really, but if you're going to do that a lot of times, it's eventually going to affect your medial meniscus, your cartilage. So your knee has to be tracking straight. It has to track right toward the big toe when you're walking, when you're running, and it depends on the flexibility of your hip, how open the hip. So let's keep it bent. We're gonna do Warrior 2 for a moment. So keeping it bent, stretch the arms out to the sides, right above the legs, and then turn out from the shoulders. So opening the chest, have the palms up, and then just turn and look over the right shoulder with the neck looking over. Stretch out from your heart, through the arms and the fingers. Let's go into reverse warrior from here. So we're going to lean back right from here with the right arm reaching up toward the sky, right arm. And then slowly come out, all the way up. Okay, so let's stay right here. Same alignment, your right leg is still turned out. Place the hands on the hips. So again, we're going to isolate a very small movement that's going to help to fix the hips, especially these muscles. So with your fingers, put your fingers right on the muscles on the right above the hip bone. So you'll feel the iliac bone, right? But below the iliac bone, you have soft tissue, right? So that's glute medius. That's the culprit for a lot of issues in people. And it's because it gets really locked up. It's short and weak, which is a terrible combination for a muscle. So we're going to hinge sideways with straight legs to the right side and then come back. So let's do that a couple of times, okay? So keep your back long and just hinge from that glute medius, right from the hips, and come back up. Let's do that a little deeper, trying to keep the front leg straight. So this is what I call a triangle preparation, but we're unlocking this movement. A lot of people are so locked up, they can't do it. They have to bend, side bend, so we don't want to side bend. Okay, so now as you come up, let's stretch the arms out and we'll go into triangle. So we're going to reach through the right side slowly. Place the right hand down to the knee. You can stay right here at the knee. If you feel comfortable, continue sliding down. So again, a lot of people, what do a lot of people do in yoga? They just collapse, right? They use a prop and they plop down onto their prop. It's not really great, right? So yeah, you can reach deeper, you can stretch deeper, but you're not strengthening the body that way. So instead, you want to activate your muscles here. You want to be comfortable just staying here with your core strength. You'll also notice that your core strength is actually really working hard here to maintain the sideways position. And there's a gentle upward rotation. Let's turn the neck to look down at your front foot. And turn the neck to look up in the direction of your thumb. And let's do that one more time. Turning the neck to look down and turning to look up. So this movement, especially when you're sideways, let's do it one more time, is building the neck muscles, right? This is something we never ever do. Let's pull up through the fingers, pull yourself up and relax down.
I'm gonna go. There's a hurry for a bit. I'll be back by 8:30.
Sorry, is there a question?
No, I'm good. Sorry, Slava.
Okay, no worries. So let's switch. Okay, so we're gonna bring the right foot in, left foot out. So we're gonna do the same little sequence on this side, on the left. So if you prefer, you can step your left leg forward on your mat, so that way you can see better. And then rotate out on the left, hands on the hips. And let's do the same. We're gonna bend and extend the left knee. So so it looks like all of you guys are pretty flexible and comfortable with movement, but you can imagine there are people who have really tight hips and weak hips, and they're not able to rotate, right? Not because they're tight, but because they have no muscle there. The muscle is stiff and tight and weak. And so that's when the knee becomes really compromised. The rotation has to come from somewhere if they're pivoting. They went for a dance or they went for a bike ride or a hike, and that rotation has to come from the hip. That's how people wear out their meniscus. So let's keep the knee right above the ankle. Hip open. This hip open, so you're going to activate your glutes on the back. So as you squeeze the glutes together, the hips are going to open. That's important. Let the arms float up. Just to shoulder level, rotate out from the shoulders, and let's rotate the neck to look over the left and out through the fingers. Just take a breath here. Keep the front knee bent, and we're gonna lean back into reverse. So left arm is gonna reach up for the sky, left arm, easy breath here. And slowly come out. Let's straighten the legs, place the hands on the hips, staying right here. We're gonna do the side hinging. Okay, lateral hinging from the hips, the same thing. I always like to keep my fingers on the muscles there. I don't know, maybe because I'm a massage therapist, I like to feel what they're doing. But if you place your fingers there, you'll see these muscles being, working, unlocking. You can also place your hands right above the iliac crest, so like right below your rib cage. And as you move, you'll notice how active your core muscles are in this position, right? You can see that, right? So if you hold your sides right below the ribs, you'll notice how active. So let's go into triangle. So we're going to stretch the arms up and then reaching through the left side. Place the left hand on the knee. Pause there for just a second and then continue sliding down. Only if you feel comfortable. You can always stay at the knee. Activate, so tighten up the leg muscles. The legs should stay really strong. Make them longer. And let's see if we can engage those core muscles to kind of rotate your trunk a little upward. It's like you're trying to turn your chest up. And then we're going to work with the neck muscles. So we're going to turn to look down at your front foot. And then rotate the neck to look up in the direction of your thumb. Let's do that 2 more times, very mindfully. And if you feel that your neck muscles are really struggling with this movement, that means they're weak. So rotating down, rotating up 1 more time, and then pull up through the fingers all the way to come out, relax, and let's turn the feet in, walk the feet, heels and toes, bring the feet together, shake out the legs. Okay, great. So let's come down to the floor. All right, and as you come down to the floor, turn so that your head is pointing my way. Okay, so your head is going to point my way. Just relax on your back for a moment. Roll the head side to side. Bring attention to your shoulders. Unlock the jaw. It's very common for us to hold our neck and shoulders without even knowing. Sometimes we work out and we don't know we're holding tension. So it's always good to pause and bring attention and relax. And so now let's raise the arms all the way up, all the way alongside the ears if you can. So you're going to bring your arms all the way to the floor if you can, even if they're not completely on the floor. See if you can rest your arms in that position. So here's a position that is completely normal, natural for the human body, all right, with the arms moving completely into that full flexion alongside the ears. And yet, this is a position that we rarely hold, right? When was the last time you were hanging on a bar? I always tell people like have a bar to hang on. It's so good for your shoulders, right? It stretches out your sides, your lats. And then simply you can just raise your arms up alongside the ears like this. And now let's give ourselves a stretch. Extend through the right arm and leg. So lengthen out through the right side and then lengthen out through the left side. So extend through the left arm and leg and just alternate left to right. So extending and try to extend. You can point your feet, point the toes. You can flex your feet. Lengthen your hips. Okay. So now from there, bring your arms into a T position. So your arms are out wide. Okay, so again, a very simple position of release where your chest is open and the back muscles are supported. Right? So it's very simple, but it's extremely effective at relaxing those muscles. So keep your arms open in a T position. Bend your knees like you're going to do bridge pose. Place your feet hip distance apart. Okay, knees bent at hip distance, feet on the floor. And now, yes?
Am I supposed to be laying down?
Yes, you're on your back.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just standing because it's hard for me to lie down and talk like this, okay? So yeah, on your back, arms wide, in the T position. And now let's roll up to bridge in that position. So you're gonna lift your bum up off the floor and roll up to your shoulders, and not shoulders, but shoulder blades, okay? So don't go all the way up. So just go to the shoulder blades. And so you're, essentially you're putting a compression between the shoulder blades and just very gently rock side to side, 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right. So you're going to use your leg strength there to do that, right? So rocking, like massaging the shoulder muscles between the shoulder blades like that. Okay, so now let's roll back down, bring your butt back to the floor, and now give yourself a hug. Okay, so give yourself a hug all the way across, so your elbows are going to cross over your chest and your fingers are going to hook on the shoulder blades, and then just gently pull your shoulder blades away from each other. All right, so just open up that space between the shoulder blades and the back. So that's the rhomboids, right? The rhomboids, the middle trapezius, those muscles in the back, which get really, really tight. They all get glued up to each other. Okay, so keep your hands this way, your arms crossed over your chest, and let's roll up in this position to bridge pose. And just pause at the shoulder blade level again. And let's rock side to side, 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right. So you're basically self-releasing those muscles. Notice if there's any tension there that needs a compression. So often we hold tension there. So notice if you have a spot or multiple spots, maybe right on the edge of the shoulder blade. That's usually a spot for most people. So again, you're going to be using your hips for this. You want strong legs to be able to do this. Self-release, right? Okay, so let's come back down to the floor. Roll back down. And now we're going to bring the arms all the way up alongside the ear. But keep your knees bent, feet on the floor, arms up alongside the ears. And now we're gonna roll up the same way into the bridge, all the way up. And this time we're gonna go a little higher. So we're gonna go kind of like almost on top of your shoulders. And then slowly roll back, but not the whole way. So just about 2/3 of the way down. And then go right back up and roll up to the shoulders, roll back 2/3 of the way. Roll up and roll down. So again, you're massaging your spine and those shoulder muscles. And the next time you're gonna roll down, just go all the way to the floor. Okay, stretch your legs out. Bring your arms back down. Roll the head side to side. And this is what I mean by compression, right? So movement, compression, and strength. That's what really fixes the body, releases tension from the body long term. Okay, so let's roll over. So take a moment to roll over onto your belly and center yourself on your mat. So let's do a Cobra Pose. We haven't done a Cobra. To me, Cobra Pose is one of the best poses in the world in yoga. And that's because I have seen people who do Cobra fix their bulging discs, herniating discs, just by doing this Cobra Pose. So the way we want to do it is keep it low. So stay on the belly, bring your palms right under the shoulders, chin to center, keep your legs long and feet close together. And now from here, just lift the chin and chest off the floor, putting no pressure on your arms. So just keep your hands resting on the floor. And what we'll do is what I call surfing the wave of the breath. Okay, so obviously I'm in California, so surfing is a thing here. But you can imagine you're on a surfboard here, and as you breathe, you'll feel that you're lifting up on the inhale and down on the exhale. So just feel that movement, that your breath is moving your body. And you're working all the 4 layers, the deepest layer, the 4th layer that's responsible for keeping the spine aligned. And so ideally you want to hold this, for a few breaths to really feel those muscles working. So now let's see if we can actually keep the breath up, and we're going to lift the palms off the floor. So really loading your back. Keep the breath. Okay, now place the palms back onto the floor. Now very gently push the palms into the floor and let yourself curl up, maybe 2 inches or 3 inches off the floor. Peel your belly up off the floor and then lift the chin and look up. And then slowly roll down. Make a pillow with your hands and just rest there for a moment. So pillow with your hands, rest your forehead there. And you can bend your knees and just rock the legs side to side while you're resting. All right, let's do another Cobra one more time. So we're going to come back to the same position with the palms right under the shoulders. And we're going to lift up, just using the back, so very low. Stay low. The chin is slightly tucked. And we're going to work with neck strength while you're holding the Cobra. So we're going to tuck the chin down, all the way down, and then lift the chin all the way up and look up. Let's do that a few times. You're going to feel the whole range of motion of your neck. So tuck the chin all the way to the chest, and then lift the chin and look up. A couple more times. All right. And from here, we're going to push into the floor, lift up, and let's go into Child's Pose. We're going to rest in Child's Pose. As you sit back to your heels, separate your knees about 1 foot apart. So wide knees, feet close together, and relax forward. And here, as you relax forward, you can rest your forehead, again, either on your hands or right all the way right on the floor. Try not to hold your head up, so you don't want to keep those neck muscles tight. So try to completely relax the forehead down. And you can rock your head side to side in place, releasing the neck. You can give your shoulders a shrug. So always cueing, sending a cue, a signal to your shoulders and the neck to stay loose and relaxed. And while you're there, with the forehead on the floor, put your arms forward in child's pose. And interlace your fingers while you're still in child's pose, arms forward. Interlace your fingers. Stick your thumbs out with the fingers interlaced. And bring your hands, bending the elbows, bring your hands up toward your neck. And with your thumbs, squeeze the sides of your neck. So while you're still in child's pose, use your thumbs kind of like pincers. Right? With the fingers interlaced, you can squeeze the sides of the neck, those muscles, the scalenes, the upper trapezius, you can just pick them up. So anytime you feel neck tension, this is nice to do. And we're going to slowly roll up. Take a moment there. And as you roll up, sitting back, we're going to bring the feet to one side. Stretch the legs forward. There's another good neck release technique like this one, you know. So take a moment to sit up, cross-legged. So we're interlacing the fingers, right? Having the thumbs out and just kind of plucking up, you know, picking up the sides of the neck. So the same way here, you do this from a seated position. So this you can do from, you know, from home, from work, anytime. So interlace your fingers and then place your palms right over the neck so that the pinky side, the pinky finger side, is going to go right under your occiput, the occipital ridge, right? You'll feel the bone at the back of your skull there. So you want that pinky fingers to be right under that bone. And so we're going to squeeze, we're going to bring the elbows a little closer. They don't have to touch. So that way you're squeezing your neck. And so here we're going to lift the chin up and really pin your hands with your neck so that the pinky edges, right, the edge of your palm is pressing right under that occipital ridge. And then you're going to release and roll forward. And then raise your elbows and lift the chin and pin again your hands with your neck really hard. And release and roll forward. And let's do that a couple of times. Elbows up, lift the chin, really pin your hands hard between the occipital ridge and the shoulders basically. And one more time. And relax the arms. So just provides that pressure, you know, the compression that releases the neck muscles. And specifically that area right under the occipital ridge, you know, that bone, the occiput. In Chinese medicine, in acupuncture, they use a lot of points here for headaches, right? Treating stress, specifically stress, anxiety. So there's bladder and gallbladder meridians that run there. And then so those points are good in general, like if you have a headache to massage that, you know, right under the occiput, especially when you have a dip. Anytime you have a dip, a depression, that's a spot, that's a point. Okay, so let's work on the hips next. There's a few other things we can do with the hips that I love. So let's stretch the legs out, lean back on the arms, and let's bring the feet to a wide stance, like mat width apart with the knees bent like this, right? So we're gonna do windshield wipers again, just for a couple of times. So rock your legs side to side. And then let's go to the right with your knees. Okay, so your knees are gonna go to the right. I'm just gonna turn so you can see me. And so I'm sitting basically on my right glute. Okay, so you want to be sitting on your right glute. So notice how this foot and this knee come close together. Yes? So let's lean on the right arm, right to the side, and place the left hand on the left hip. We're going to work on this left hip and see if we can create some strength in this hip. So not just flexibility, but actual strength that moves the hip, you know, rotates it externally and internally. So right from here, we're going to open this out. You know, you can even use your hand and kind of push the knee to open wider, and then bring the knee down to the floor. Now is the tricky part. I'm going to activate inward rotation and pick up the ankle. So the knee stays down on the floor, but the ankle is up. And then bring the ankle down, open out, bring the knee up, knee down, rotate inward, pick up the ankle, and keep going. Okay, so at your own pace. I generally call this the spiral position, right? Your legs look like a spiral. I do this a lot in my yoga class. Okay, so if this is difficult, especially this, you know, ankle lift, that means weakness, right? Weakness, tension and weakness together. Okay, so let's bring the knee down to the floor, pick up the ankle, and then catch hold of that ankle over top. So with your left hand, so we're going to be holding on to your left ankle with your left hand, and then push it back into your hand so you can lift the leg off the floor, kind of like King Dancer pose. We're going to push the leg back to stretch the hip a little, and then we're going to lower down on our right forearm. So drop, come down to your right elbow. And now we're going to go into what I call a karate kick pose. Okay, so we're going to straighten the leg, the left leg, all the way down, and bring the arm and the leg parallel to each other and the floor. And so you want to engage this whole lateral chain of muscles on your left. Okay, like you're flying in a karate kick. And we're going to circle, making small circles with your straight leg in one direction. So try to keep the leg from rotating. Circling from the hip one direction and then reverse the opposite direction. And relax. Okay, if you found that difficult, you know what to do. Let's switch. Okay, so let's swivel the legs around. You're sitting on your butt. Lean to your left. And let's place the right hand on the right hip. We're going to work on the right side. Open out, wide. Bring the knee down, rotate internally, pick up the ankle. Okay, so just like that. Same thing on this side. So keep the knee down when you pick up your foot. So we're building mobility through strength, okay? Not through flexibility. Not just stretching, we're strengthening the muscles. Let's pick it up. Let's catch hold of that over top of the ankle with the right hand. And as you push the foot into your hand, lift the knee up, push it back, and then slowly lower yourself down onto your left arm, forward right here. And just hold that for a moment, pushing the leg back, feeling that stretch in the quad. And then we'll go into the flying kick. So we're going to straighten the arm and the leg, leave them parallel, and hold. Easy breath. Make small circles. And reverse the circles. And relax all the way down. Come back to the same position. Okay, so here, let's stretch the legs forward. And we're gonna do a traditional forward bend here with one leg out, right? Shavasana. So we're gonna bring the right knee up and over to the side. So bringing your right foot at the inner thigh or the inside of the knee. So the right foot, the right knees to the side. So we're not gonna stay there for too long. So let's raise the arms, inhale, and exhale, fold forward. Reach for the toes and relax your arms. You can hold on to your toes if that's comfortable. Just take a breath here. Activate your quads here just like before. And then we're going to come back up. Leave your arms down. So let's come back to upright. We're going to bring the palms together at your heart. Okay, so this is new. This is something new. So we're going to rock over to the right side. Pick up your straight leg without the use of your hands. We're going to lift it off the floor. Sweep it across the side and bring your leg into the spiral position. Remember the spiral position like that? You're sitting on your right glute like we just did. We're going to turn toward your front knee, which is your right knee, and lean forward with your chest right over that knee. You can place your hands on the floor if you like. Okay, so this is kind of like a pigeon pose. Here's the difference. In pigeon pose, we relax forward, right? We stretch those rotators, the piriformis. Here, we don't want to relax fully. We want to stretch, but we also want to strengthen. So pick up the hands. Squeeze between the shoulder blades. Stretch your arms back. So it's like flying pigeon. Okay, and relax. If you found that difficult, you know those muscles are weak. So now I'm going to connect these three positions with a slightly faster movement. Okay, so let's swing that left leg forward again. Okay, so left leg forward, right leg here to the side. Palms together. Inhale up with the arms. Exhale, fold forward to forward bend. Inhale up with the arms. Bring the palms down to your heart. Rock over to the right. Sweep the leg across into the spiral position. Sit up for a moment. And then we're going to lean over that right knee. And here, as you're leaning over the right knee with your chest, raise your left leg off the ground. See if you can do that. Left leg off the ground. And then right from here, we're going to sweep that left leg all the way to the front. Place it to that straight position. Inhale the arms up. We're going to do that same movement one more time. Exhale forward. Just a breath here. Inhale up with the arms. Exhale, palms together. Lean over to the right and sweep across into spiral. Sit up for a moment. And then turn to face the right knee with the chest. And pick up your left leg off the floor if you can. And lift up. Stretch the leg out. Let's bring this right knee out, more open like we did in the beginning. Remember, we pulled this out like that and then rotate it in. So let's do that movement a couple of times. We're going to bring it in and then bend your right leg and come into the spiral on the left side. Okay, you see what I did? Okay, now we're going to straighten the right leg. And we're going to do the forward bend on this side. So your left knee is to the side and bent. Right leg is straight. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Let's hold this for a few breaths. If you can hold on to your ankle or your toes, that's great with the right hand. And coming up with the chest and chin lifting up, let's bring the palms together at your heart. Lean over to your left hip. Pick up the front leg that's straight. Sweep it across the side all the way back and sit up for a moment. And then turn slightly to face your left knee. Lean forward. Load up those hip muscles. Stretch the arms back into the flying pigeon. Bring the palms down. You can roll forward. See if you can bring your forehead all the way down to the floor over the front knee. And then slowly roll up. And let's sweep that back leg, your right leg, all the way to the front. Palms together, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Let's take a breath here. On the next inhalation, lifting up with the arms, exhale, palms at your heart, lean over to the left, sweep the leg all the way back. And as you turn to face the left knee, lean forward and pick up your right leg off the floor if you can. So back to the front, sweep it all the way to the front. Inhale the arms one more time. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale up with the arms, exhale, palms at your heart, lean over to the left. Sweep the front leg all the way back into spiral and then rotate with the chest to the left knee and pick up your right leg off the floor. And then sweep the leg all the way forward and straighten both legs, lean back, roll the legs side to side. So a lot of hip strength work, right? So we're not using our hands, we're not really stretching, although we're working on mobility. And of course, you're going to get more flexible this way, but you're getting flexible through strength training. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope you guys are still with me. Okay, so let's come back to the floor. Okay, so let me check. I don't have a watch here in this room. Let me check what time it is. Okay, we're at 5 o'clock. So we're going to finish up pretty soon. Let's come back to the floor on your back. So just lie down on your back. And we'll do the bridge pose slightly differently. We're going to do a more traditional bridge. So let's roll back, bend the knees, place the feet hip distance. And keep your arms alongside the body. And let's roll up to the shoulder blades again. Okay, so not all the way. So just roll up to the shoulder blades and the same way, rock side to side. So just 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right as you massage out that area between the shoulder blades in the bridge pose. Bridge pose is awesome for this because you can self-massage, self-release a lot of this tension there. Okay, so now as you come back to center, see if you can squeeze the shoulder blades under. So squeeze the shoulder blades closer together and then lift the hips up a little bit more into the traditional bridge and tuck the chin to the chest. You can leave your arms relaxed if you like. Focus on your hips for a moment. Press the hips upward so you're using the glutes, right? And all those connections in around the sacrum to press the hips up. This is exactly what we overstretch when we sit down. That's why it's such a good pose. All right, now from there, let's roll down, all the way down. Bring the knees up into the chest. So bring the knees out and just roll and circle on your back, massaging your back against the floor, holding the knees. And see if you can massage the very base of your spine, the sacrum. So make small circles at the very base of your spine. You can feel those ligaments there, the SI, the sacroiliac ligaments. It's nice to roll on them because they do get tight. At the same time, we want them to be really strong. We don't want them to be wobbly. So now from here, let's do something I call a nerve stretch for your shoulders. So let's keep the knees up for a moment, but bring your arms. So you can bring your arms out wide into a T position, okay? And then raise your arms a little higher into the letter Y. So you're gonna be making a letter Y with your body. So your arms are gonna be diagonally extended out to the sides. Okay, so in that position, we're gonna straighten the right leg down and roll to your left into a twist with the left leg going across. And your left arm is gonna lift off the floor in that position, okay? Don't try to hold it down because it's unlikely that you can because of the positioning. And so let it come off the ground as you go all the way across with your left knee into the twist. And so let that left arm just hang, extending, and then see if you can extend, you can bend your hand back and actually extend finger by finger. So extend through your thumb and bend your thumb back. Then your index finger and flex it backward. and then the middle finger, and the ring finger, and the little finger. So one by one, and then rotate your wrists in that position. So we call this position a nerve stretch because you'll feel some nerve sensation going all the way down from your wrist down into your chest. Okay, so, and then we're gonna come back up to center and switch. So let's straighten the left leg, bring the right knee up, leave your arms in that Y, and then roll over to the left. So your right knee is going across over to the left. And now your right arm is going to come off the ground. Your right shoulder is going to be off. So just take a moment to hang there for a moment. Let the gravity work on your arms. Just gravity stretching across your pectoralis. And then we're going to do the same extension through each finger. Okay, so bend your thumb back, index finger, extend it out, so extend from the chest into each finger, one by one like that. And then all of them together, bend the wrist back at the same time, and then gently circle, rotate the wrist. Okay, so that's a really good way to self-release the shoulders and also open up the chest. And then let's come back up to center. And let's point the feet. We're going to raise the legs off the floor. Point the feet up at the ceiling for happy baby pose. And with our hands, we're going to reach over the edges of the feet, the outer edges, the pinky toe side, with the knees really wide and bent. And just rock side to side in happy baby pose, rocking across your mid-back. We worked on the upper back and the sacrum mid-back, lower back, and now the mid-back finally. So just gently rocking side to side. And if you like, you can stretch one leg out, see if it can straighten. And then the other leg, maybe both legs at the same time, stretching out wide. Now from here, we're gonna bring the soles of the feet together and lower your legs down to the floor. With the soles of the feet together, knees open wide into Bhadrasana. Bhadrasana is, cobbler's pose. So you're still on your back and your legs, your feet are together, knees open wide. Bring your arms alongside the body. And in this position, we're gonna lift up. Okay, so at first, squeeze the shoulder blades a little closer, just like you did in the bridge pose. So squeeze the shoulders in. And now let's slowly lift the hips up and activate your glutes. Tighten up those connections around the sacrum so they're strong. Pressing the hips upward, just a breath here. Take a breath here. And then slowly bring the hips down. Stay there for a moment. Rock the hips side to side. And then stretch the legs all the way down. Roll the head side to side. We're just going to stay on the back for a moment and just take a few breaths here to be conscious of the body and kind of relax on purpose. Okay, so we're going to do a shortened version of Shavasana or deep relaxation. So just make sure that you're comfortable, your clothing is comfortable, not restricting in any way. Adjust your shoulders, roll the legs in and out. Unlock your jaw. Roll the head side to side and let the head center in its natural position. Okay, and just take a moment to relax, letting go of the arms and the legs. Release the back, all along the spine, the muscles relaxing, just floating away. The front of the body, the chest, the rib cage, the heart, and the lungs. Just relax. And then consciously relax all facial muscles and even the skin of the face, all around the mouth and all around the eyes. Eyelids, the third eye, and